we're spending out of control, and we're teaching people that there's free stuff everywhere. The one thing that I don't see, and it's because I guess the way I was raised, I don't understand. My grandfather, I believe, had a second-grade education. He was a machinist, and he worked at Boeing, and he was the head guy for the. When they had a tough part to make, he couldn't read the plans, but they would explain it to him, say exactly, Ed, this is the problem we're having. We have to have this made, and he was the guy who did it. I was taught and I was raised, you can do anything. You can make it, you can do anything, and I have. Now, I don't understand, it doesn't seem like we're teaching anymore in any community, you can do it. Gordon, you agree or disagree?
Glenn, I agree with you. I'm elected a mayor of Monticello, New York, and one thing that I dislike and to hear that I am a black mayor, just like certain people are saying Barack is a black president. I'd like to say that I am a qualified mayor, not a black mayor. I get it all the time at where my village is. And to say the president is that people vote for Barack because he's a black man, I don't agree with that. I'm a Republican. I think he was the better candidate. I think he had better vision. And that's why I did go with Barack.
I have to hang on just a second. Hang on. I got to chastise this really. If you are, hang on.
Glenn.
If you guys are a bunch of conservatives, you are lying to me if you thought that John McCain was sweet Jesus manna from heaven.
Oh, no, we didn't say that. I thought,
control of the show.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
McCain, I thought, would be the same George Bush. I think that Barack had the better vision. And, I mean, I just didn't want to fall into
Do you still agree with that?
I mean, think, as a mayor, I was elected 2 years ago, and I'm falling in the same position as Barack is. You know something? I've been in office from day one, being in office, and just like the president. You know, he's only been there a year.
But it takes taxing and spending.
Oh, no. Don't give me that. Don't give me that this man hasn't accomplished. I will not hear that this man has not accomplished anything. He's accomplished plenty.
Look what he's only been in a year, and look what he's facing.
And look at
because
the deficit. And look at the budget.
The deficit and the budget is
out of control.
That's past tense of what prior.
No,
come on.
Here's the thing. This is why I disagree with John McCain. It's not Republican Democrats. They're both progressives. They're both spending us, both parties are spending us into oblivion. We're having Marxist and Marxist light, or progressive and progressive light.
And that's what people miss about the Tea Party movement. They think that this started with Barack Obama. It did not. They saw this for the past 10 years. And even if you go back within the African-American community sliding left, that's been going on for the last 40 to 50 years. So now you're dealing with a generational occurrence where people now have to re-educate themselves as to what Americanism is truly all about.
How many people are reading now more than ever about the founding of our country and are really looking in and doing soul searching on this is who we are? Go ahead.
Mr. Beck, I just wanted to review Barack Obama's record for his initial year.
Okay.
He ran as a pragmatic moderate, and I can understand his charisma. And the weariness of the Bush years sold people on him to a certain extent. And I think his race also did play a factor. People wanted to see Martin Luther King's dream realized.
Yes.
In the past year, we've had a stimulus bill pass, $800 billion, looting of the Treasury. We're on track for $9 trillion in deficits for the next decade, which completely obliterates anything George W. Bush ever dreamed of.
Yeah, but it's not. But again, John McCain would have been for cap and trade. John McCain would have been for universal health care, amnesty. It's the same stuff. So it's not. It's
at a much slower pace, and he would have listened to the conservative grassroots in his party.
Yes, but this was my. Hang on just a second. You just said he would have listened to the conservative grassroots. When? When has the Republican Party? You're a Tea Party member. How many people have gone to a Tea Party? Okay. All right. So you know what? I have to tell you something. The Tea Party movement. You've got Republicans who are saying, you know, you guys are out of control. You're going to destroy the party. Well, you know what? Maybe the parties, both plural, need to be destroyed or at least reset.
And what's interesting about that, Glenn, is this. You look at my city of Charlotte, North Carolina. You actually have Tea Party goers and organizers that became at-large candidates and ran all the way through to the general election. You're finding the Tea Party movement having more of an influence there. They're no longer able to discount that as much as they tried to in April and March. Remember, this was supposed to be an April phenomenon that has been going on. I'll be speaking on Saturday in Raleigh, North Carolina, at yet another party. This is going to be something that goes on until things change.
Onto something. He's got a, Gordon, you're a politician. He's got a red tie on blue pants. He's going to be a politician, isn't he? All right, you were going to say.
Yes, I wanted to speak to the mayor there of, I forget the village, Monticello. You said you don't like being identified as a black mayor, and I can understand that. But to say that people did not, and that you have a problem with people referring to Barack Obama as the black president, well, that would be fine if whenever any valid criticism of Barack Obama were leveled against him, people wouldn't automatically, instead of thinking about what's being said, they automatically go on the defensive, and any reasonable criticism of Barack Obama is because he's black and is racist in nature. So to say that he's just the president and not just the black president, he is the black president who is being protected and defended to a fault by the black community. And we are not listening to reason.
We were elected. Ma'am, we were elected by all people, white, black, myself, and Barack. We don't just represent black people. We represent all people, and we should be respected as that.
Barack Obama wants to redistribute the wealth of this country. Barack Obama said that he wanted a single-payer health plan. He said that. He also, which is a universal health care plan. But if you go to any Joe in my neighborhood, well, in my old neighborhood, if you go to anybody in my old neighborhood and say that Barack Obama wants to take away our personal freedoms, and that the Congress is taking away our personal freedom, our rights to our own bodies, and make our own decisions about our own body, with this plan, they say, oh, that's not true. You're just being brainwashed by Glenn Beck. You know, and they're just fighting against Obama because he's black. They just don't want to see a black president succeed. When they,
it's not even about any of that. The thing that Glenn Beck said before is that people are not studying about who we are, how this country was founded, and the only way we're going to be able to stop this, and the black community as well, is until we know who we are, where we really came from.
See, but that's, you know what? Let me tell you something.
That's the
Lisa,
point.
hang on, I got to take a break. But let me say this before we take a break. America, I think this is where African American conservatives have a leg up on just plain old conservatives. If you're a conservative, you are accused of starving little children to death, making sure that nobody has education. You just hate everybody who's coming across the border illegally because they're different than you, et cetera, et cetera. And so you as a conservative, and I don't think liberals really understand this, as a conservative, we're human beings. And so you say these things and we go home at night and go, gosh, is that what, I mean, no. And you have to do some soul searching. You're a conservative, so you want to starve children, but you're also, you guys and conservatives, we have soul searched. And the only way America is going to survive is if they ask themselves tough questions and you know who you are and you know what you believe in. But because we're in this political nightmare where nobody speaks the truth, we're not having honest arguments or conversations about things that are real.
Correctness. In fact, this whole African American business is politically correct. I don't believe, Mr. Beck, that when you're talking on the phone, okay, Glenn, right. I don't believe that when you're speaking on the phone with your familiars and you get into a conversation about race, you'll say, or when you're speaking to your wife, you'll go, oh, I'm talking about that black guy over there. You don't say I'm talking about that African American guy. No. You don't, do you? No. It's a politically correct thing. So
you refer to me, I mean, but you don't refer to me as German American.
That German American. It's just so darn silly. It really is.
But America's supposed to be past that. We're supposed to be the melting pot where we're not intimidated to use an adjective just as an adjective and not as a slur or not as a delineation. That's what we have to get to.
Back in a second.